Hello, it's Alpha Prime in the house. Welcome to the show. I'm sure I've had a ton of people wait. Anyways, we're going to try to make some money real quick. What we got? Ooh, the bull's pushing up into the range. Trying to look at that wick up there. Some institutional buying. Oh. Made a kind of an equal low there. You would think that the Bears are in control, but I'm not going to short that, even though I want to. Right about now. I think they're going to keep going, though. There it goes. Let's see what we got up here. 841, 846, maybe. These crazy ass bulls. We're gonna break it out. We're at the orange line. What is this? The 405. So we're in a long-term kind of deal here. This is the spot where I might turn back. Dang, should have shorted it. Mm, mm, mm. Oh well. Let's just have to deal with it. Straight up, straight down, great. Looking at a higher low, maybe. Certainly trying. Look at that huge range. Huge range candle in a 5 minute. It's crazy. I knew it. I knew I should have shorted it. Really trying to hold that the median of it all. Ah. Alright. Easy peasy. broke a rule by moving my stop. It's so volatile that I can't deal with it. I know I'm ashamed about it, but live to survive. There's a couple of levels, one at 800 and one at 824. It's a 21 win streak. Yeah. I lowered my risk for the rest of the day because I don't want to make any hasty decisions or lose my profit for the day. Down to 2 contracts for the rest of the day. You know, this looks, it's probably going to be a range day. It's got this huge 5-minute candle out the open that's just a fucking huge range candle. So, looks like we're going to be ranging, I don't know, maybe between 800 and 700, essentially. 800 and 700, I would think. It's gonna, peak over the top of this, for sure. But, it'll probably peak over the bottom of it too. I'm still pretty sure that the Bears are in control. It looks pretty dumpy right now, so we might be looking for the bottom of this range first. We're already in the range, so it's like forming at between 86 and 28, like a 50-point range right now. You can see that forming on the shorter term chart. Pretty wild open. This almost a 200-point range. So could be a big day. It's still looking dumpy. Looking at like 680 probably, or deeper. Down to that wick at 660. The levels I'm sure are 666. Oh, surprising. 673. And 679. This looks like 2 attempts to fall lower out of this range. Bottom is probably around 735. And the top might be 762. And these are range breakout attempts. Yeah, whatever. I'm content to just sit and watch for now. Got to a pretty good place with my trade journal last week. a little bit of work on the weekend, but it's a pretty special product. I think it's really going to help. It's going to give me that final push to professionalism. You know, I declared on stream a week ago that today I become a professional, and you know, it feels like it. It has been feeling like it, so I'm pretty pumped about it. Mm, big red candle. See, I said it was dumpy. 660, 680. Here we are. I hope the Bulls fail miserably here and it takes off for another leg down. It'd be so fun. But we are looking at a range candle, so most likely it's just gonna look below it and then take off to the upside again. Here's the look below. It's a lower low. Well, that trade has got me feeling real good. So I'm gonna have a cigarette. just thinking outside. Thankful to be warm. Thankful to have a heater under my feet and a hand warmer in my pocket. Because it's pretty cold out there. Bulls are trying to hold like 660, but it just got pushed through. There's another level here at 632. Other than that, we're looking at these two wicks to the left, which are equal low, kiss of death. So, looking pretty bearish right now. But I'm surprised that we're taking a run below this range, because we closed under the range candle that started the day off. I'm surprised that we're pushing so hard down, but fuck you, bulls. Round trip that shit. Another wick they're working on, trying to save this whole thing. We have the last time-based liquidity on the Z contract at 416, just a hop, skip, and a jump away. And I think that we've hit this a couple of times since we've been on the Z contract. I think it fell to this level and was below it for a little bit, and then came up and bounced off of it and took off. So I think that's a big level. I mean, I marked it out right in the beginning of this contract. It's been sitting on my chart and only popped up a few times. But I think it's significant that it's the first, well, I mean, not the last based. It's kind of a misnomer because it's not the last time based. It's essentially the last liquidity level that I have on the Z contract, the lowest. So after a new all-time high, maybe that's the level to return to, since I don't know, all-time high on Catherine the Great's birthday, of course. Her birthday tends to start trends for sure. Isn't that funny? In 2019, crypto took a run on her birthday. It was the bull run that we're on right now started on her birthday. It would be hilarious if the retracement or the bear reaction started on the same day. So there goes my first hand warmer. As long as I can get a USB power somewhere, I can be warm. Too fast. Hey, Captain the Great's here. I just checked my stream for the first time. Thanks. Did you see the trade? It's still looking pretty dumpy. Linear regression has got 50 points to run from here. Yeah. Yeah, can you believe that I can make a living on a fucking one red candle? It's amazing. I'm thinking about working on a R system to trail my runner. So essentially, you know, it's going to calculate what my stop is, and then when it hits 1R, it's going to move my stop to break even. Then if it goes 2R, then it's going to move my stop to 1R. And if it goes 3R, it's going to move my stop to 2R. And so on and so forth. I might have gotten, in that scheme, I wouldn't have got shit on this trade. But if I was short up here, I might have been alright. Just a matter of getting in at the right spot and to catch one of these runners. Would like to, someday catch 100 points on one of them, and I've done it a lot before, but I'm pretty cautious with my risk management these days. You know, I'm not really swinging for the fences. I'm just trying to scalp a daily wage here for the time being. Do. So I was off yesterday. I'm sure everyone noticed, but I stayed home because I have this terrible tooth ache, and it was so painful that I felt like I was gonna die. But we survived, breathed through it. And, my nurse was feeding me medication the whole weekend, and I was sleeping, sitting up on the couch, because every time I would move my head back or lay it down flat, it was causing the pain to be uncontrollable. It was just like a runaway train at times, where the pain would be gone for 4 or 5 hours and then just come back raging. And it was hard to do anything. It was some of the most pain I've ever felt in my life. And took the day off yesterday. I still traded. I made about the same, actually. Just one winning trade, just like today. So doing good. I'm a 21 win streak. 21 wins in a row. That's pretty good. I think it's actually my best streak ever. I know I've had 19 in a row before, but 21, that's a new record, I think. It couldn't have come at a better time either, because I really needed that. I really needed 21 in a row. Not only for the confidence issue and declaring myself a professional last week, just tons of things going into it right now that couldn't have come at a better time for me. Actually, it could have come at a better time maybe like a year and a half ago, but it is what it is. about ready to take some daily payouts. My other two fundeds that I just started last week when we passed them on stream, they're about 500 something in profit each. So you got 1,000 working there, and I got 1,000 more to go. Take dailies, but I'm pretty much at the payout level now. So with the first account that I started a couple weeks ago, I think I've been trading it for 14 days. I think. Let me check real quick. Yep, 14 days. We got FOMC tomorrow. Wednesday, cool. That's always a fun day. Once the meetings start, it's like crazy. It's like 60-point swings just up and down, crazy. My robot trader traded that in the back testing and got wrecked. So not worthwhile trading tomorrow afternoon. I will not be trading it. Usually the pre FOMC is kind of rangy and lame, slow. So might not be the best day to take my first payout on, but we'll give it a try. See what we get. Man, is this a dump? Really, really would love to just YOLO this son of a gun, but what are you gonna do? Take trades when take trades on one little teeny tiny red doji candle up in here that ended up going against me another 30 points. But, you know, I was, just to put it into perspective, I was literally 30 points from the very, very top of this short entry that is currently going on right now, you know. I think my entries are spot on. It's just like I have to get the confidence, and I have to get the financial situation under control before I can really start swinging for the fences again. 'Cause I could still be in this trade, and I could see a reaction trades. So. I can see it. But just like continually, I'm taking scalps at the absolute top of a major move, and I'm constantly doing it these days. It's like every single time I take my scalp, and I'm like, all right, well, I just got paid for the day. It always turns out that I was scalping the very fucking place that it could have made me 1,000 fucking points. So pretty great. So that NWOG from 1012 below that is actually from the previous contract. The draw when the contracts flip over, the drawings from the previous contract and all my drawings show up. So I have lots of landmarks to blow through on the downside. Look at that, all-time high from 1224 down there. Woo! Looking sweet. I only think I started drawing NWOGs in August, it looks like, so that's probably why I only have a few, but probably got more drawings down here. There you go. There's more. Oh, we got to test that trend line down here at 19. That's a must, probably. It looks like the last drawing that I have that's showing up. I wonder when I drew that. 10/29, 2025. That can't be right. Oh well, maybe it is. 10/29. I'll be damned. It's from all-time high day, so you know we might actually be trying to test the breakout at 19.2. Wouldn't that be fun? I love that idea. I'm loving it. All-time high, a couple all-time high figures down there. 2468. I remember that. Good times, good times. So the bulls have some traction. Looks like they're building a little whippoorwill here on the short-term chart. It's very whippoorwilly. You know, very strong whippoorwills. They actually have. They can actually break up. And I learned that journaling the other day when I took a whippoorwill trade and ended up taking profit really at the very top of it, just when it first smacked into whatever the resistance. But it did keep going. I think it was. It could have been right here actually, on that trade from Friday, but I think it was probably earlier. It's hard to tell anymore. I'll look at my journal later if you care. But my journal is awesome. Got some really cool stuff to show. You know, I'd show it as it is right now, but I was hoping to turn it into like a web app. You know how those websites that are one page and it just kind of like slides to the next thing, so it like loads the whole thing up on the first page load, and then as you navigate through the site, it just kind of like does these transitions and moves within the website instead of like reloading a page or whatever. And I wanted it to be slick like that for the stream. It's really my last thing I got. I was thinking maybe doing some AI analysis as a part of it, where I could like send the data from my journal to the AI and then get like a you know further analysis, because I'm journaling, but you know it's like writing something and then sending it to the AI to have it correct your grammar and you know make you not sound like a retard, and it's kind of the same thing, you know. Let's load up my journal, see what it looks like. Where's that whippoorwill trade at? I think it was whippoorwill. Second impulse. Nope. Alright, so on the 14th, which was what day? Friday. Yeah, that's right. So it was that trade. There was a massive whippoorwill. This is directly from my journal, the setup. Massive whippoorwill. I waited for the second impulse in the hopes that I could get into the swing. However, the swing did not kick off. Stopped out my runner for 4 points of profit. Now that I have the trailer set up, that was my first rule, 100% rule, and broke out massively to the upside. My lesson was huge whippoorwills will most likely fail to the upside. It was crazy volatile and risky, and I almost got stopped out before it paid me. So, those are the kinds of insights that I've been gathering. And, like, I could just read through my trades and listen to my thoughts at that time and be like, oh, maybe I should be careful when there's a massive whippoorwill. And I'm not just talking about, like, this little baby whippoorwill that happened. Is that they bounced it at 434, and the whippoorwill stopped at 508 for a couple of candles here on the short term. But then actually, this push up is also a whippoorwill. So there's like two whippoorwills in a row. And the whippoorwill I was talking about, though, went from like the bottom to like the top of the range up in here in one shot. It was just like boom, 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 all the way. And at least this one's taking a break. So it's not like the massive whippoorwill. And you don't see those very often. Whippoorwills that are like 300 points big or something in a matter of less than 5 minutes. That's the kind of whippoorwill that I shorted, and it was probably not the greatest of trades. And I'll remember that forever because it's in my journal. I've read the journal on stream. I've looked at it a number of times. It's pretty much firmly in there that if I see a massive 300-point whippoorwill, don't short it, because it's probably you're putting your life into the market's hands at that point. I just saw a whippoorwill on the XRP daily this morning. If you look at, bring up the XRP trading view scam chart. There is a whippoorwill on starting around July 6th of 2025. It was like a 4 or 5 day whippoorwill, if you want to look on the daily. Starting July 6th. Should run a game. Find the whippoorwill. Giveaway accounts. First person who could show me a whippoorwill wins an account. It'll be like a stream game. April 4th, 2024. Whippoorwill on the daily at XRP. Oh, that's Ethereum's chart. Dang. Sorry. Let me look at the XRP one. Ethereum had a whippoorwill in July. All right, so whippoorwill. Okay, so XRP chart. Just basically look at the daily, okay? And it's very easy to spot. Go to November 2024 when XRP started ripping. Okay, so this is the kind of massive whippoorwill that I'm talking about. This was from 50 cents to $1.25. And my advice is to not short whippoorwills that are so massive. I mean, that's a daily whippoorwill. And we're talking about short-term whippoorwills that are on like the small time frame tick charts. I'm looking at candles that are making like 3 candles every minute. So it's less than a minute chart at times, depending on how much volume's going on. But structurally speaking, $1 on a coin that was below $1 for many years and just hauling off a whippoorwill that's $1 is not a shortable whippoorwill. That's a whippoorwill that's gonna fail to the upside, because the whippoorwill pattern is a dump, but it will fail if it's massive. And there's another one shortly after. It's not as nice of a whippoorwill, but it started on November 27th of 2024, and that's the one that's the 50% of it has been holding XRP's price up at like about $1.89. And so far so good. I mean, this is kind of a beautiful chart. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but we have equal lows on the daily at 211. It just started a little kind of a whippoorwill on the 6th of November, just last week, and it is failing like you would expect. But if we find support here in the above 2, essentially, it's the 50% of this wick. This is still a bullish chart, in my opinion, on XRP. I can't wait for the great flippening. Where XRP is finally determined to be the best crypto on the face of the planet. I'm moving to the ETH chart again. It got down all the way to less than 1,500 just within the year. So we were at 1,500 in April, and we've made a series of lower lows since March of 2024. And then all of a sudden, we break it out again and break all of those highs from March of 2024. And now we're retracing again. So right now where it's at 3,000, there's a huge well of pain that started on January of 2025 and ended when it broke out of that level in July of 2025. So there's like a 7-month well of pain that you can see on the chart, that if you drew a line from where price is right now horizontally, you can see that well. So that being said, when it broke out, the breakout ended up being the well level ended up being at the 50% level of the breakout, and it found support way sooner than the 50% at 33.52 area in August. So there's this run, the breakout run from July to basically July of 2025. That whole green run there is going to be tested here. So this is either the new normal 3,000. It could clearly find support at 25, because it ranged over 25 for some months. And ICT's finding liquidity at the 50% of a range, so that would be like 25 something, which makes total sense if you think about it. And if a run gets completely retraced, a lot of the times the bottom of the run will provide the support to bounce. But I tried to break out of 47 4 times on the daily and failed each time. So there's kind of like a flat top up there, and then it started making lower lows or lower highs. And the kiss of death exists on the bearish side. So like there's a kiss of death around 42.52, which they have equal highs, and you know, usually that's good for a move in that direction. When you see equal lows or equal highs, like, see that, you know, it's equal lows, and then you get the opposite move, and a bunch of desperate whippoorwills. You know, these whippoorwills are the sign of exhaustion. It's like the last hurrah of whatever's occurring. So I could see two equal lows being formed on the NQ here, and then when you see whippoorwills happening afterwards, then you're like, oh, I know what's happening here. This kiss of death is about to be a kiss of death. And sure enough, we're trading below it. So in this case, on the ETH chart, we have a kiss of death on the upside, the bearish side, at 4,200, and there's no whippoorwills, no bearish whippoorwills. In fact, I don't even, I've never even seen a bearish whippoorwill. But what I do see is a shit bounce to not even breaking 4,000 again, and then a lower high. All right, we're back up to the 9 EMA. It's got some rangy action down here. Brought all the averages down into this area, 24,600 to 24,420. Actually bounced before that. Here's a decent short. Wonder if I should take it. These fuckers, you know, this shit sucks. This is a short, but like, gosh, it's such a dumb short, but, you know, it's probably gonna pay. I just can't take it. Not after winning today. We would have been out in profit already, so too bad, so sad. Kind of in the middle of liquidity again. They took 3 runs off of the SSL, and now we're directly 50% between the BSL and the SSL. The market range high is at 720. The market range low is at 480. We lost the range low at 694. That's where it really took off. And it was below the range low until it reclaimed it just now. Now they're had enough of the sell side, and they're going to go see if they can get the buy side, which is now at 641. Big well of pain for the bulls, but if it keeps going, you know, I could see the 700s. This, you know, testing these liquidity, time-based liquidities from the bottom. Makes sense, but not bullish. Not bullish. and another thing, like here's the short. It's working now, but from where I was, I was wanting to take the first impulse, which I almost always do. I'm a kind of a first impulse guy. I am a knife catcher. At the heart, I am. I'm trying to break myself of that habit. So I have my journal being like, did you take the first impulse or did you take the second impulse? And I've only had six trades, but my data that I know very well now is comprised of 5 trades since 11/13. And I think that's been very helpful because like it sticks in my brain. Now when I'm trying to take entries, I'm like, is this the first impulse? Maybe I should wait. So like case in point is like here's a perfect short entry at around 9:21, and it worked great. I would have got scalped. I would have scalped out and everything. All right, but then it bounces and hits some other level. And this is the second impulse, okay? And that would have been a much better short, as you can see. It's already moved, in total, it's already moved close to 70, 90 points or so to the downside, as opposed to my first short, which would have been about 40 points. So half as much profit in the first impulse short. But this market be crazy. It's very volatile right now. The bears just got a nice run, and the bulls are being fucking dumb fucks as they normally are. Here's a short entry. So they are being dumb as normal, trying to bring this back up to 700. Okay, good luck. But it's too fast and too large. Like the move was large, so you'd expect that the bulls will get some kind of traction. So shorting it doesn't seem to be very fun right now. Not with my 12-point stop. Which I just moved anyways, and I feel terrible about. And trust me, I will journal it correctly. Second short entry on this structure. So this is the second impulse. Which, like what I mean is the second impulse is usually higher than the first impulse because the bulls, how the bulls work is that the market stops and reverses, and that doesn't usually pay very well. The second impulse where it blows everybody's stops out that was in the opposite trade is the one that pays. And like my exit strategy is specifically because I'm a first impulse kind of guy, where I see a likely level where some stupid move is going to reverse, and I take them. And those end up getting stopped out if you don't take your profit very quickly, which is what I do. I'm looking for just like a 12-point move and then miracle runner time, which hasn't worked out yet. But it's looking dumpy again. We'll probably at least see 500 from here on a second impulse short, which if you see this on the short-term chart, the wick of the first impulse was 597. And then they brought it up just a little bit to 604. And that's the second impulse. They stopped everybody out short on that wick. And then dumped it off. Case in point. That's also why I've gotten into a habit of moving my stops, because I have been risk averse pretty much my entire trading career, and I know there is that thing that I kind of like subconsciously know is that I know that I'm taking the first impulse. I know that this is probably a good short or a good move or whatever. So the idea is give it a little bit more so you can stay in your trade while it does whatever it does. The problem becomes is the one time a week where your entry sucks and they totally blow it out and go up to 700 and you're sitting there with a 50-point stop or something and just being like totally safe feeling when you take the trade, but then it just straight up fucking wrecks you. And that's really the problem. That's really my main problem that I've been fighting this whole time. And so I really would love to train myself to hold out for those, like waiting for the level, and being like, I want to short now. It's like my brain automatically just says, it's time to short. Okay? So the first time that happens, you wait until all those people that said the same thing, because there are going to be, when they get stopped out, then you look for your short entry. And it was right there. In this structure, it was at 601. So when this little red doji happened on the top of the 5 minute, you can't really see that detail. It created an entry at 601. It didn't hit it until here. But if you would have just took it straight up, market sold it right when that level occurred, you would have gotten this. They weren't able to stop out those people. It's more confirmation that that it was a good trade, and you're getting a lot better downside action at that point by just waiting for one more push up to stop out the people that were knife catching. And that goes both ways, Knife catching is not just a buying behavior. You think about it, it's not like the metaphor doesn't work, but still in the opposite direction, shorting a huge bullish push is the same thing. Ranging between 600 and 530s. Essentially in between the two liquidity figures. 620 is the actually I think that's it's contango. Just double check it. Yeah. Let's see what was before all-time high. Yeah, it's weird because I think it is contango. I think we're officially in a bearish market, to be honest. It's pretty interesting. Boy, would I love to see sub 20,000. just to see it, you know. I am excited to see a move in an opposite direction. And we've blown through these relative equal lows are made on the 7th and the 14th, where the bulls pulled the market back up to 25.1. And we're below that now. This level right here at 46.21. It's kind of like the bottom. Lots of support in this area, all the way down to 24.180, which is just below that. You know, this is historically a supportive rate or zone. So to get below that, you know, we have support all the way down to 24,000 essentially, and then we're looking at 23, and then look out below. That's what the daily says, at least. Expect a bounce off of 535, 23,535. You know, we'll most likely get a bounce there. If we don't bounce at 535, yikes. Because we have a kiss of death at 23,275. And it looks exactly like something like this, where there's a push above and then a kiss of death was made. And then, you know, you see where we've lost it. And it's actually resistance, which is where the short kicked off. And there's one on the daily at 23,252. And there's a little FEG above it. There's some fib level profit taking. And if I got the fib right, which is let's see, what are the days I got drawn out these days? The bottom at April 7th. Get my tool values up. That low was 16,830, 16,873, and let's see where I drew the top. The top I have at the fib. I'm drawing it from that level at the bottom on April 7th to the high of May 22nd, which is 21,756. And so those levels, the fib has not been tested on the downside. It went straight for the profit fibs, which are at 50% of this FEG on the daily at 23,535. That's the first take profit level. The second take profit level is at 25,594, which there was a gap through on October 25th, 24th to the 28th, the weekend gap that we have filled since. And then at 26,399, which is a great all-time high level, by the way. $1 from 26,400. That sounds good. But anyways, that is exactly 50% of the between the second and third take profit fib, which is very common. So the 50% of that fib between those two fibs reverses all the time. And you know, it's not to say that the final fib at 27,400 area is not going to be hit someday. But it does mean that a reversal will happen somewhere between 27.4 and 25.5. And that's what occurred. And then we have a kiss of death right below the first take profit level. And all this liquidity at 22222, essentially 22,222, big psychological level. But that was liquidity for this run that started in April, and we've since run way past that. And all of these levels to the downside have not been tested. We have that 22222. We have the Loki line at 20,741. We have the 50% of the fib at 19,333. And the interesting thing about it is that there's not really a convincing close over the 50% on the daily. And what I like to see for direction on these fibs is a two candle pattern that is a push in whatever direction, and then the very next day the opposite push. It's like a rejection of the move. And those are what I look for on the 50% of the fib lines to say, all right, the direction is up, or all right, the direction is down. And in this case, there is not that pattern. And it almost is like a thing that must occur. And since we're talking about the daily, it's been April since we've been there, you know. So they'll take runs up and down past the fibs. That's fine. But to ultimately decide the direction, there has to be a rejection over 19,316, and we left it way behind without doing that. So I'm assuming that we are going to eventually. Whether that means it's, you know, confirmed bullish, or whether or not we're going to get an extended run down, is yet to be seen. It hasn't been decided yet, because they blew through that level on the 9th of April, and then kind of did some gappy gaps on the daily. It was a crazy level. The bullish entry line on the fibs was 18,316, and that happened shortly after the push through the 50% at on April 21st, and then from that point forward, it's been nothing but up. So a lot of unfinished business all the way down to the April lows of this year. We have only had one, well, we've had two touches on the bullish entry line, which is at 316, 18,316. So there's been two touches on that, but the 50% has not given me that pattern that I almost always 100% see. You know, I'm taking all my knowledge of the short-term chart reading and transferring it to the daily, and you know, the only difference is, in my opinion, is that it's such a longer time frame that it's just going to take years to months to get what I'm expecting. So, you know, also, it's an interesting thing about this is that when you draw a fib in Sierra charts, it's like the moves that happen are when it's kind of like this arbitrary thing where you move it from a point to a point and draw the fib, and then Sierra charts has like a default that it makes it wide depending on how tall you made it. Okay, and when price leaves that, which it has on the daily, okay, I had this daily fib drawn starting on April 7th, and it's kind of like a time-based indicator that once it leaves the Sierra chart fib on the right side of the fib, like the lines only go so far on your chart. Once it leaves that, then you can expect a move. And so the day that it left the confines of that daily fib was 10/10/2025. The biggest bearish candle that's been on the daily since the day before the bounce at 4/4. Hands down the biggest red candle. It was from 300s area to 24,166. It was like a 1,000-point drop the day after it left the Sierra charts fib. And then of course it bounced, made a kiss of death at 24,427 and gapped, and it's only been maybe a couple weeks, and then it hit the all-time high. And so always, you know, there's this typical pattern that I constantly see, is that there is an indication that that a short has kicked off, and the only way to get paid if you're going to enter in on that bar is to suffer through a ton of drawdown every single time. You see it happen all the time. It's like akin to the first impulse, which would have been shorting 25,300. Okay, because it dropped 1,000 points and then it bounced up into this level, and 1020 area. This is the first impulse to short on the daily. Okay, and if you did it, you would have made like 600 points. Pretty good trade. All right, but the problem is, here's the second impulse, which went all the way to 26.3, whatever the fuck all-time high is. But this is the second impulse off the daily. And now you get the big move. Now you get the short kicking off. But anytime there's a move, it doesn't matter if it's on the tiniest chart or on the biggest chart, when you see the move happen, you wait for the first impulse, and then you wait for the second impulse. That is the original. That's like the kickoff of the original. So it happened on the daily 20 days later. The first big bearish push, everybody's like, oh shit, it's bearish. This is a bearish market now. Okay, let's see how high we can run it up, and this is our last shot. And that's what they did. 20 days, they made the all-time high, and now we're sniffing the bottom of that big red bearish candle that happened on 10/10. It's a 1,000-point candle, and we're currently about 300 points away from that, which is right here in this general area. So words of wisdom. Look looking at the chart now, we've been ranging in two-tiered range. We got this whippoorwill like push up, and then we ranged up in here, and then we took a dump and ranged now in here for the past 15 minutes. The bears have to hold 24,444. Good luck to you. Anything really here is just noise. It's just like it doesn't really have implications to the longer term trend, which I think is bearish. If the bulls bounce it at 24,444, well, good for fucking them. They're gonna bounce it, and the bulls will make money, and you'll get something like something retarded looking like this, where it's like, oh, we're bullish again. Oh, we're going to all-time high. So that's a similar structure to what we're probably going to be building here. But if they lose 24,444, then the regression looks like it could easily dump more here, and we're only looking for a few more 100 points before we get to that spot where it's probably going to be really crazy on the daily. That level is. We talked about it just a bit ago, but it's 24,158.50. The bottom of that bearish candle, which I'll show you on the chart, is right there, somewhere around there. I got my crosshair on the daily, and just moving it 1 pixel moves my short-term chart, the 5-minute chart, like a lot. So it's just somewhere in this general. See my shit jumping around. Somewhere in this general zone here is the bottom of that big bearish red candle that kicked this whole thing off. And so the opening range just closed a few minutes ago. And so what you can conceivably see easily is that it loses the opening range low, comes back up to test it, the last time-based liquidity on the Z contract, and then this is an easy short, very reasonable to be looking for this, for looking a downside move to this area. And the candles have not been looking very bullish. I mean, since all-time high, we've had 3 daily greens, and that was a whole trading month ago. So has not been bullish. Any price action basically not a short to 24, low 24s is just noise. So trade it as you will. But I think the move is there. Ultimately looking for a break of 24,000. We had, what is that, 150 bucks. That's pretty good, 150 bucks, max DD. That is good max drawdown. It's less than, it's like 3, 4, almost 3R from my profit. So it's pretty good. I'm going to start capturing the max drawdown, and I'm also going to start capturing one of the cool parts I think that I have planned is that I'm going to be capturing how far the trade goes in my favor and how far the trade goes against me. And so like it'll take a while for the automatic process of the files to be created so I can journal it, but I think it'll be worth it because I rarely journal right after the trade anyways. So essentially my trade will happen, and then the thing that creates all of those the journal files that my journal reads with all the trade data in it will not happen until there's a complete move and it reverses on it. So then I will get to know how much money I left on the table, how much money these shorts are really worth, or how much money these longs are really worth. And that coupled with all the pattern recognition and the feelings that I've been recording, I think it's going to be really powerful because I'm gonna figure out which of the patterns that I trade all the time are the most profitable. It's gonna be cool. It's just Whippoorwill City here on the short-term chart. It is insane. The Whippoorwill started at around 9 o'clock. Okay, this first push was one, and then the second push was one, and then the short kickoff was here. And then this one wasn't a Whippoorwill, but this is clearly a Whippoorwill. And then this push, and then there's one here. One here, there's one here, here, here. Basically, the short-term chart is just one continuous Whippoorwill over and over and over again. And you know what I think about the Whippoorwill pattern is it's desperate bouncing, the last hurrah of the bulls. And rarely do I see more than one or two on the same chart. But in this case, there's probably a dozen. So this is like desperation for the bulls at this point. It's only a matter of time before one of these fails to the downside. Like we're not gonna actually test the opening range low. It's so bullish that it bounced a few points from it. Bullish retards. They had a perfect opportunity to dump it on at 950, but two Whippoorwills in a row. Desperation bull push. Oh, that 5-minute candle looks really, really bullish, eh, guys? Buy that. Oh my gosh! I mean, we might hit this today. That'd be cool. It's definitely set up for it. All we have to do is push below this opening range low, which the bulls have been desperately trying to hold. would prefer them not to, but you can't stop these bulls sometimes. So if they're gonna fucking run it up, they're gonna run it up. It is funny too. Is I'm such a short-sighted specialist. I have been since the beginning of my trading. I only recently, just in the past few months, actually started taking longs, and I haven't taken a long in a long time. There's not even a long in my journal yet, so I can't even test the switch that moves it from short to long. But it is interesting because all of a sudden, every single time I enter, I win. So uh, that meshing with my short-sighted nature, it makes sense. We are in a bullish market or a bearish market. I have a 21 win streak. I've 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 trained my entire trading career on how to short markets, and I'm on a 21 win streak. So that should tell you something right there, that this market is not bullish. And that's a terrible bearish candle on the 5 minute. Very, very gross looking. Good luck to you, bulls. You're going to need it. Little bouncing off the liquidity line that I drew at the beginning of this contract. I'm so sure that you're going to be able to hold it. Nighters, bulls. Bulls underwater at 24.4. Can they whippoorwill this shit back up again? I almost think that whippoorwills are algorithmic response to stuff. You know, it's almost like a program that gets called and it's just like whippoorwill, because they're always the same looking pattern. I was thinking about sending the pattern over to somebody to get a second opinion about, like, putting together a narrative about what it means. I don't know, an experienced trader that might have an opinion about it. I think that'll be fun. I'll definitely do that someday. I mean, my first thought on it is it's probably just bullish retardism, but you know, I'm pretty sure that it's probably some kind of algorithmic bullshit. Well, it's so bullish. I've been doing. I have this system that I've been watching for pretty much my entire trading career. Built it in early 2024. It's been 2 years since I've had the idea and brought it into existence. So almost all my my trading is informed by it. And just recently, I switched it from a 24 bar length to a 405 bar length. Pretty big difference. And I think it's really been paying off. I've been seeing things so much better. I've been waiting for the proper zones to get short instead of shorting way too early, because on a 24 length chart, those lines come way, 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 way sooner than the 405. So, you know, you could, you have a bigger macro, a better macro look at the market, because they're the same lines that you've been studying for years on a short length, and then you move those lines to a longer length, and they just kind of spread out. You're like, oh, well, the upside possibility here is 24,500. So taking a short below the halfway point, you know, it's great. Sure, if we get a 100 point push through the very bottom of the lines, then obviously that's a bearish sign. But for right now, we're kind of in the confines of the market on a longer term perspective. It's just kind of easing down. It's not. This is not like a hardcore bearish trend like you saw. Let's see. Like in this general area of the market, in the 13th, or these pushes where you clearly see that it's bearish. And in this case, you know, it's just kind of slowly meandering its way down, which is fine. But there is a potential upside here at 24,500. It wouldn't be the first time that the bears have shit the bed and not pushed all of the headway that they've gained. In fact, it's very, very common. Just look at these right here. 4 fucking bounces. Just fucking do it already. Here's another bounce. So desperate bulls trying to hold the fucking range bottom. You know, they just can't let it go. And I'm not sure if that's just a short exhaustion or bull moronic behavior, but it's probably a combination of both. So coming into the line that that the short entries start happening, but the linear regression's all out of whack. It's very volatile. The liquidity is up a good deal to at 550, 24,550, and we haven't been able to get it. But we've been eating so much SSL that they really want a piece of that BSL, and they just keep trying. This was an attempt at it. They didn't get it. Another attempt at it. It's terrible. It's just a disgusting display. Whippoorwills and just garbage price action from the bulls. But they seem to have a bit of traction here, bringing it up to the top of the range, and 50% between the liquidities. Here's a short entry right here. It's a first impulse short entry. So expect to have 500 swept, 502 swept, That's what I would be expecting. So this is consciously saying, I see the short. I have to wait now to see what happens. And here's a perfect example. Okay, so this is the first impulse short, and it got completely reversed. They closed the candle above that. So what does that tell us? It tells us the bulls are in control, and it's not going to stop until these short entries fail. Okay, that would be the first impulse. Then waiting for the second impulse, that's where the short re-engages. And in this case, the bulls completely engulfed that short entry. That's the first impulse short entry. So the bulls are back in control. They're probably trying to. They're probably trying for 600 area. Not sure if they're going to get it. Liquidity's at 545. It's only a matter of time before these morons get it up there. And we've already closed below the opening range low. So this is another case of what I'm talking about as far as once you see the signal that this shit is going to be a short, the bulls will take control and run it up as high as they can. It's literally what happens every single fucking time. Look at the daily. Look at the huge bearish push, 1010, October 10th. What you could officially say was the beginning of the bear market. And then what happened? All-time high. All the way to 1029. 2 weeks of bullish retardism. And now we have nothing but red on the right side. And we're coming into that level that we left behind when the bulls said, okay, now we got a bearish market, we're going to run it up as high as we can. It's just like a feature of the market. I don't know why it happens, but every single time you see something that says, okay, the market is going to flip, the opposite move will happen against that for as long as the market wants. You can see it play out every single day on the short-term chart. When you see a signal that some kind of short-term bullish push is going to reverse, it's most likely the left shoulder. All right, well, I'm going to call this stream. It's been a great day. See you tomorrow. Peace out.